All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for choosing to practice with me. My name is Emma. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are a new viewer. I got a lot of great feedback last time I filmed out here because of the sound of the birds and the trains, so I figured why not do it again. It's gorgeous outside here in Phoenix. It's our favorite time of year, so I would like to take advantage of the sunshine as well. My cat might be coming into the video. She is really the star of the show. Her name is Ulu, after Uluwatu, the city in Bali. And she's an indoor-outdoor cat, so she might be coming into the video frame throughout class, but hopefully that just adds a little extra level of cuteness. We'll go ahead and get started today in a standing forward fold near the front edge of your mat. Take your feet out wide, bend your knees a decent amount. Feel free to put your hands on blocks or just let your arms hang heavy. You can grab your elbows if that feels good, or maybe even clasping your hands behind your head, kind of at the nape of your neck, just to get a little extra release in the upper back and cervical spine. Start to notice where you feel your breath the most in your body. Maybe that's the throat, the chest. If so, see if you can breathe a little bit deeper into the bottom of your belly. Where can you soften, surrender, let go of tension, resistance? Almost feel that wash away with the exhales. Let's go ahead and release the arms. Inhale, lift up halfway, pull your sternum forward. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold forward. One more time. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's step back to plank pose and then immediately drop down to the knees to tabletop. Inhale, drop your belly, pull your chest forward, look up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, push your shins down and spread your shoulder blades, cat pose. Again, inhale, arch your back, cow. Exhale, round your spine, cat. And then we'll keep going a few more rounds here. Inhales to arch. And exhales to round. If cat-cow feels good to you, keep that up. Otherwise, if you'd like to move with me, you're going to start to figure 8 your hips. So pushing your hips back towards your right heel, swinging it over towards your left heel, hips forward towards the right wrist, the left wrist, and then back towards the right hip and the left hip. Forward towards the right wrist and the left wrist. One more this way, back to the right hip and the left hip. Forward to the right wrist, left wrist. Then we'll switch directions, back to the right wrist, over towards that left hip, right hip, forward towards the left wrist, right wrist, back to the left hip, and the right hip. One more time. Forward to the left wrist, and the right wrist, back to the left hip, and the right hip. We'll meet with a neutral spine. Actually, let's go ahead and bring the knees together, feet together, spike your toes to the mat, and take a seat back on your heels. You can move your pinky toes out of the way. You should feel a pretty big stretch on the bottoms of your feet. If this is really painful, go ahead and put the tops of your feet down for Vajrasana instead. Interlace your hands here and take some circles with your wrists. Good. Bring your hands to your thighs, close your eyes, see if you can sit your weight a little bit more backwards. Keep hugging the ankle bones towards each other. Breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Shift forward to tabletop. Untuck your toes and tap out your feet a few times. We'll bring the knees out wider and walk the hands out to a puppy pose. You can grab the front of the mat if that feels good. The hands can always go a little wider, especially if this feels tight on your shoulders. Try to spiral the inner thighs back. Press down with the tops of the feet. Think big top of the big toe and the pinky toe, all of the toenails pushing down. If you've got the space, chin to the mat is great. Feel the inner shoulders pulled back. Last 2. And 1. Slide forward onto your belly. Let's go ahead and take that left forearm across the mat. Bend your right knee, reach back and grab your right foot. You have to push your pubic bone and your hip points down to feel this quad stretch. If your butt is sticking up in the air and you're tilting your pelvis, you're not going to feel it as much. So think hip points pushing down as you pull your right heel in towards your butt. Try to square your shoulders, your chest towards the front of your mat for 3, 2, and 1. Release your right foot. Bring your right forearm across your mat. Bend your left knee. Reach back with your left hand to grab your foot. Again, push your pubic bone and your hip points down. Pull your left heel towards your butt. Try to twist that left shoulder a little bit forward, squaring yourself to the front of your mat. Breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Release your left foot. Lie down onto your stomach. Slide your palms back so they're in line with your ribs. On your inhale, roll your chest up to cobra pose. Keep a little micro bend in your elbows. Feel a little spread of the shoulder blades. Shine your heart forward and gaze forward. Draw your waistline back and try to avoid rolling to the outer edges of the feet. So if you notice your toes start to flop in towards each other, press down with the top of the big toes and then lower yourself back down. We'll come back up. Inhale, maybe a straight arm cobra pose. Still feel action through your back side. Keep pressing down with the tops of the feet. And then we'll find a child's pose. Your knees can go wider together, the arms forward or by your side. Breathe into your ribs. Feel them expand outwards, east and west. And then try to breathe into the back of your ribs, the back of your lungs. Keep your elbows down. Take prayer hands overhead. Push your elbows into your mat. Maybe the forehead floats up off the ground for a tricep stretch. Keep sinking your hips back and pulling your bottom ribs in for 3. Relax your jaw 2. And 1. Extend your arms, shift forward to tabletop. We'll tuck the toes and find downward facing dog. You can pedal out your legs here, bend and straighten one at a time if that feels nice. Or find any other organic movement that feels good in your body. Try to spread your fingers out, the wrist crease parallel with the front edge of the mat. Find some stillness here, maybe a little bend in the knees. Lift up through your waist, your outer hips. And the legs are really active, so quadriceps hugging the thigh bones, pushing them back. If there's a bend in the knees, that's totally fine, but the legs should still be engaged. Let's spin the heels over to the right. Option for the left hand to grab the outer edge of the mat, especially if it feels a little bit slippery. Or dusty in my case. We'll spin the heels over to the left. Same idea. Option for the right hand to grab the outer edge of the mat. Keep lifting up through your waist. And then we'll come back up to center, high on your tippy toes. Let's walk all the way up to the front of the mat. When you get there, your feet can be touching or hip distance. On an inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, rise, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Close your eyes for a moment and lift all 10 toes. Softly put them back down. Squeeze your legs together. Feel yourself stand up a little bit taller. And then notice your breath. Try to breathe all the way down beneath your belly button. Unrestricted, not rushed. Nice, slow and controlled. And release your arms down by your side, Sun A. Inhale, reach both arms up, look up to your thumbs. Exhale, fold over your legs. Feel free to bend your knees. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, palms down, step back with just your left foot, drop your left knee. Inhale, reach both arms up. Lean back as much as you like here, but keep lifting up through your waist. Drive your right heel down and press into the top of your left foot. Take an inhale, lean back a little more. As you exhale, hands down, half splits pose. Straighten your right leg, flex your toes. Pull your sternum forward and your shoulders back. Nudge your right hip a little down and to the left for 3, 2, 1. Rebend your right knee, and then we're going to step the right knee back to meet the left knee. Come up to stand on your knees for camel pose. Push your hips forward, reach your arms up on this one. Keep pushing the hips forward, lean back as much as you like, lift your sternum. Take an inhale. As you exhale, keeping your knees where they are, child's pose. Hands down, belly onto the thighs. Grip the mat, slide yourself through to a cobra pose, active legs. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. All right, lift your right leg up behind you, bend your knee and stack your hips open. You might like to bend and extend at the knee joint a few times. That usually feels pretty good. You could also circle out your right hip. Try to keep your left leg firm and sturdy. We'll square this off. Step your right foot forward towards your right thumb. Bump your left foot a little bit to the left and come up to a high lunge crescent warrior. Keep a little bend in your back knee to start. Feel strong through your legs. Reach up from your side, so feeling space between the ribs. It's not about how far you can reach the arms back. Think more reaching up. And if that's too much on the shoulders, you can take the hands wider or even a little bit forward in front of you for 3, 2. Straighten your right leg, turn to the left side of your mat, wide leg forward fold. Feel free to grab your ankles. Squeeze your legs. Notice that the hips like to shift a little bit behind the heels, so try to tip your weight forward without gripping into the toes. 3. Slide your shoulder blades away from your ears. 2. And 1. Inhale, lift halfway. Crawl your hands around to the back of your mat. Step your right foot to meet your left foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Come all the way up to stand. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart and hands to your side. Again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Step back with just your right foot. Drop your right knee to the ground into a low lunge. Feel the left heel and the right knee pull towards each other, engaging your inner thighs. Press down with your right toenails. Lean back as much as you like, but feel a lift from your sternum. So instead of just dumping the hips forward, lengthening up through the low back and then leaning back. Take an inhale. Exhale, half splits, hands on the mat, flex your left toes. You can wiggle your heel a little bit more forward. Try to push that outer right hip forward for 3, 2, and 1. Rebend your left knee, and then we'll step the left knee back to meet the right knee. Come up to a camel pose, reaching the arms up. Pushing your hips forward, again, sternum lifting, so you're not just dumping into the lumbar spine. Press down with the tops of the feet and lean back as much as you'd like. Take an inhale. Exhale, keeping your knees where they are, child's pose, arms forward. Rest your belly on your thighs, grip the mat, and then slide yourself through to a cobra pose. Active legs, tuck your toes and find downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up behind you, bend your left knee and stack your hips open. You might like to just bend and extend at the knee, or add some circles in if that feels good. We'll square this off. Step your left foot forward to your left thumb. Bump your right foot a little to the right and come up to a high lunge crescent warrior. Keep a little bend in your right knee. Sink your hips down as you bend your left knee more. Reaching up through your sides, pull your front ribs in. Palms are facing each other, or even the pinkies in a little bit. As you do that, you can feel the shoulder blades spread, creating more space in your upper back. Sink a little lower. Last 2. And 1. Straighten your left leg, turn to the right, wide leg forward folds. Feel free to grab your big toes, hands on the mat. Focus on, again, getting the hips in line with the heels instead of behind. So you might not even notice you do this unless you go up against a wall and try to fold forward. You'll notice it's a lot more challenging to track the hips forward versus having them a little bit back. Relax your neck, last 2. And 1. Inhale, lift halfway. Crawl your hands to the front of your mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Come all the way to stand. This time, grab your left wrist and lean over to your right. Pull your front ribs in and squeeze your legs. Roll some weight to the inner edges of your feet. Engage your inner thighs. We'll come back to center. Grab your right wrist and lean over to your left. Same idea. Firm your glutes. Think tailbone towards the heels. Come back to center and cactus bend your arms. Lift your sternum before just leaning back. Push your hips forward. Make a bind behind your back. Inhale, lift your chest, work your knuckles to the floor. Then bend your knees and fold over your legs. Feel free to separate your feet a little bit for balance. Again, lifting the tailbone, lifting the hips, and then tipping the weight a little bit forward for 3. Full cycles of breath. 2. And 1. Release your bind. Inhale, lift halfway. Step back or jump back. Chaturanga with or without your knees. Gaze forward as you lower. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Really active legs. Exhale, take yourself back to downward facing dog. Press down with the base of your thumb and your pointer finger like you're pushing your mat away. Hide your heels behind your ankles. And then notice if you're kind of flipping the tailbone up like a cow pose or a puppy pose. Instead, we want a long spine. So you almost have to pull the sternum a little forward, pull the front ribs in. From here, lift your right leg up behind you. Step your right foot forward towards your right thumb. Bump your left foot a little bit to the left and come up to a high lunge crescent warrior. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, twist up into your right. You can place your left hand on your right thigh. Try to reach your right fingers back behind you and keep sinking your right hip. Bump your right hip a little bit to the left, wringing out your spine, your torso. Then we'll reach that left arm forward. Hands reaching in opposition. Place your right hand on your left hamstring, reach your left arm up and back. Keep twisting to the right, so it is a bit of a back bend, but it's also a nice side stretch here. Take an inhale. Exhale, put your left hand down inside your right foot. Try not to move the legs too much, so the hips are still nice and low. Pump up your back leg. Look up towards your right hand for 3, for 2. Drop your back knee, straighten your right leg to half splits pose. Scoot your heel a little forward if you need. Make sure the left hip is stacked over the knee. You're not sinking the hips back. Almost think pubic bone and sternum forward like we do in pyramid pose for 3, 2, and 1. Rebend your right knee. You're going to slide your left knee up behind your right heel and take a seat for Ardha Matsyendrasana. Hook your left elbow outside of your right thigh and look back over your right shoulder. Try to press down with the ball of your right foot. Get your right sitting bone down. Breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Unwind, take a little counter twist over to the left, dipping the hands down, maybe the chest. You'll come back towards center, begin to shift your weight forward into your right foot. Press down through the knife edge of your left foot to tip yourself forward to a standing L. Left leg lifts up behind you. Roll your outer left hip down and push your right thigh bone back. Take a breath in. Exhale, step your left foot behind your right foot, crisscross at your ankles, and fold. Bend into your knees and sit back, reaching your arms up for a cross-leg Utkatasana. We'll then take this right arm underneath the left arm. You're in a modified eagle pose with the right toes on the ground. If you'd prefer more of a challenge, you can slide your right leg up further and wrap your toes around your calf muscle. Try to pull your right hip back, lift your triceps off your chest. Take an inhale. As you exhale, drop your elbows towards your top knee. Shift your gaze down towards the ground, and then keeping the arms, slowly just unravel your legs into a warrior 3 with eagle arms. Roll your outer right hip down this time, pull your sternum and your elbows forward. We'll take a long step back with the right foot. As you pivot to the right, release your arms and send them wide. So all 10 toes pointing to the long edge of your mat. Turn your right toes out to the back of your mat and find warrior 2. Deeply bend your right knee. Sink your left hip in line with your right hip. And then active arms. Spread the shoulder blades. Reach your hands away from each other. Gaze over your right fingers. Take a breath in, reverse warrior, reach up and back. And then exhale, find side angle. The hand to the mat, elbow to the thigh. Push your right knee a little bit out to the right. Scoop your right glute underneath you and get really heavy through the outer edge of your left foot. Get lighter in your right toes. Extend your top arm if that feels all right for 3. Last 2. Skandasana at the front of the mat. Bend your left knee. Feel free to shuffle your right foot a little bit wider. You can stay in Skandasana, or if you're with me, take a seat for a gait variation. Your right hand grabbing your left ankle, the left arm will reach up and over into a side bend. Think about the right shoulder blocking the right thigh, left sitting bone sinking as you turn your chest up towards the sky or the ceiling for 3. Flex your right toes a lot. Your right leg is really active. Try not to let that left knee fall in towards you. Keep pushing it out. 2. And 1. Sit yourself back up into a wide leg forward fold. Turn all 10 toes in the same direction. This time we'll bring the hands to the waist and inhale, rise to stand. Turn your right toes out to the back. Stretch your arms wide. We're going to triangle pose. Reach forward and down, grabbing your right shin below the knee. You can also use a block, grab your big toe, or put your hand on the ground, but try to track your spine over your front leg instead of leaning it forward. The top arm can reach directly up or overhead for a greater side body stretch. Pull your belly button back and your front ribs in for 3. 2. And 1. Look down. We'll bump this up to a half moon pose. Right hand going forward, left leg lifting. Option to float your right fingers off the mat for an added challenge. You could also bend your left knee, reach back and grab your foot for full moon pose. Push your hips towards the long edge of your mat. Make sure those right toes don't change direction. You've got 3. 2. And 1. Left hand goes down back to that seated twist, dropping your left knee outside of your right ankle. Take a seat once again. This time you're facing the back of your mat. We're going to twist again over to the right, but this time go prayer hands at your heart. You have to brace your core a bit more and really rely on pushing your feet down. 3. 2. And 1. Unravel over to the left. Keep going to the left until you find tabletop facing the front of your mat. Come up to stand on your knees. This time we're going one arm camel pose. Your right hand reaching back for your right heel, the left arm reaching up. Nudge your hips forward. Think about pushing your spine in behind your heart. Last 3. 2. And 1. Windmill, left hand, right hand down. Take a big cat pose around your spine. 1 time, inhale, cow. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up behind you, inhale. Exhale, step to your left thumb. Bump your right foot a little bit to the right and come up to a high lunge crescent warrior. Sink your hips low so your hips are kind of in line with that left knee. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist open to the left with the right hand on the thigh to start. Really reach your left fingers back. Sink your hips. Once you're there, you can stretch your right arm forward. Feel space across your upper back, your shoulder blades for 3, 2. Left hand finds the right hamstring. Reach your right arm up. So kind of like that one arm camel pose that we'll finish the sequence with. Push your spine in behind your heart. Inhale. Exhale the right hand to the ground. The left arm reaches up. Twist. Try not to change your legs too much. Keep nudging your left hip to the right. Pump up your right thigh for 3. Sink your left hip. 2. And 1. Drop your left hand and your right knee, half splits pose, getting a little bit of a break on that left leg. Feel free to scoot your heel forward. Lengthen out through your side, so less bunching up sensation in the left side body. Rebend your left knee, slide your right knee outside of your left ankle and take a seat, Ardha Matsyendrasana, seated half twist. Right elbow outside the left thigh, get both sitting bones to push down and press down with the ball of your left foot. Avoid rounding your back here, pushing the spine in, crown of the head gets taller for 3, 2, 1. Unwind, little counter twist, putting your fingertips off to the right, twist your chest. You'll start to shift your weight forward into this left foot. You can press down with the outer edge of your right leg to help lift yourself up to standing L. Roll your outer right hip down, push your left thigh bone back, inhale. Exhale, step your right foot behind your left foot so the ankles are crossed and fold over your legs. Keeping the ankles crossed, bend your knees into a cross-leg Utkatasana, reach your arms up. We'll take the left arm underneath the right arm. You can keep the legs as they are for a modified eagle or wrap your left leg further on top of your right. Pull your left hip a little bit back and sit lower. Pull your bottom ribs in, lift the crown of your head, relax your jaw. Drop your elbows towards your top knee and start to shift your gaze down. Keep the arms if possible. Let's unravel the legs to an eagle 3. Outer left hip rolls down, elbows forward, fingers forward. Take a long step back with your left foot, pivot to the left side of your mat and release your arms wide. Turn your left toes out and find warrior 2 to the back of your mat. Sink your right hip as much as your left hip. Make sure you're not reaching forward over that left leg. The shoulders are over the hips. Breath in, reverse. And breath out, side angle. Keep your legs. Sink your right hip. Draw your outer left hip back. Lighter left toes, heavier knife edge of the right foot. Reach your top arm out if that feels good for 3. Feel the outer armpit wrap around, pull your belly button back 2. And 1, Skandasana at the front. You can shuffle the left heel further from you if you need. You can stay here, or if you're with me, drop down to a seat. Your left hand grabbing your right ankle for a gate variation side bend. The right sitting bone will likely lift up off the mat, but you're just doing your best to push it back down. Keep pushing your right knee out to the right and turn your chest up towards the sky for 3. Breathe with purpose. 2. And 1. We'll sit back up and go into a wide leg forward fold here. Just for a moment, set up your feet. Bring your hands to your waist and rise to stand. Turn your left toes out to the back of your mat, setting up for triangle. Reach the arms wide, forward and down with that left hand. So again, active legs, quadriceps hugging the thigh bones. Top arm can reach up or extend out. Just make sure you're not arching your lower back. If you do that, it's really bracing your core, pulling your navel towards your spine, breathing for 3. And 2. Look down, half moon pose. Keep your left toes pointing to the back of your mat as you float yourself forward. Squeeze your glutes together, push your hips towards the right side. You can stay there or reach back to grab your foot. Pressing down with the ball of the left foot, but light toes. And feel the inner thigh going forward, the outer thigh hugging back. Breathe for 3. 2. Right hand down, drop your right knee outside of your left ankle once again into that seated twist. This time facing the back of your mat. Hook right elbow outside left thigh, but go prayer hands. So you have to brace your core a little bit more to sit up tall. Really use the exhale part of the breath to twist for 3. 2. And one, counter twist over to the right, but you'll keep going to the right until you find tabletop facing the front of your mat once again. Come up to stand on your knees for one arm camel pose. Left hand towards the left foot, reach your right arm up and over. Again, think sternum lifting, hips going forward. Tops of the feet pressing down, especially that right foot, because you don't have the added pressure of your hand like you do on your left. Take an inhale. Exhale, windmill, right hand, left hand to the mat. Round your back a lot, cat pose. One time cow. And exhale back, downward facing dog. All right, from here, you're gonna slide your right knee directly between your thumbs, kick your right foot to the left. Slide your left knee up behind your right knee and kick your left foot to the right. You can kind of sit your hips back halfway, adjust the knees to stack more, and then when you're ready, taking a seat back into Gomukhasana. If this is way too much, extend your bottom leg straight for Ardha Gomukhasana instead. Both sitting bones down. I like to grab the feet just so they avoid slipping forwards. It's okay if your knees aren't perfectly stacked. Focus more on the sensation in your outer hips and glutes. Avoid rounding your back here. Sit up tall. If you'd like to add the arms, we'll go ahead and take that right arm down, thumb in, bend at your elbow, reach for your middle back. Left arm up, bend at your elbow, reach for your middle back. Maybe grabbing the fingers or using a strap or towel. Breathe for 3. 2. Release that bind. From here, we've done this before. It feels tricky at first. You might watch first and do second. You'll walk your hands to the left, push into your feet, lift your hips. So halfway through, you're at a wide leg fold facing the back. You'll keep walking your hands to the left, and then eventually sitting down into Gomukhasana on the other side. The left leg is on top. If you'd like, you could shift forward a few times to stack your knees better, and then when you're ready, settling into that Gomukhasana shape. Again, if this is way too much, especially for your knees, extend your bottom leg straight. Start by grabbing the feet and really sinking this left sitting bone down. It should feel uncomfortable but not painful. If you'd like to add the arms, this time the left arm down, thumb in. So you're internally rotating your left shoulder, then bending. Externally rotating your right shoulder, overhead, and then bending. Lean your skull back into your arms. Pull the bottom ribs in. Keep sinking the left sitting bone down for 3. 2. And 1. Release your bind. Go ahead and sit back. You'll unravel your legs, extend them out, and give them a little popcorn shake. We'll go ahead and bring the feet together, Baddha Konasana. Grab your feet or ankles, sit up tall, and then hinge at your waist. You can use the elbows to help press the legs down. Sternum a little forward, draw the shoulders back. Breathe for 3. 2. And 1. Lift yourself up, close your knees like a book, lie down onto your back. Once you're there, walk your feet closer to you. We'll set up for bridge pose. Regular arms by the side or with a bind. Lift your hips. Try to keep your toes pointing forward, not out. Engage your glutes like 60%. And then notice how it feels to drive the feet down, and then imagine pushing your mat forward. So you feel a lot of action through the legs, but then imagine dragging your heels back towards you. You also feel a lot of action through the legs, but it's different. That's a little bit more hamstrings, other one a little bit more quads. Lower yourself back down, take a breath. We'll do one more back bend. It could be upward bow if you're familiar. Otherwise, grab another bridge pose. Hands beside your head, elbows point up, toes stay pointing forward, and then lift your hips, torso, push your chest towards the space behind you. Try not to let the toes turn outwards. Knees can be bent a tad if you need. Prioritize your breath. 3, 2, 1. Tuck your chin, lower yourself down, and hug your knees into your chest. Take a happy baby pose, grabbing your feet or ankles, maybe rocking side to side, massaging out the low back. Pull your tailbone down towards the ground. Might feel nice to straighten out your right leg, stretch your inner thigh and hamstring. And then switch, straighten out your left leg. If you've got the space, both legs can go straight. Bring the bottoms of the feet together, kind of like a supine bound angle / happy baby, pushing the knees wide. When you're ready, go ahead and extend your legs towards the front corners of your mat. Let the toes flop out. Take your arms by your side, sprawled off your mat, relax your palms. Wiggle the shoulder blades so they're flat and your chest feels open. Soften the space behind your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy and maybe they close completely. Soften all the muscles in your face, your jaw. Let the breath be comfortable and natural. Take a deep, full breath in. And let it go. Welcome movement back to the fingers and toes. Maybe the wrists and ankles next, and the head side to side. Eventually, you'll reach your arms overhead, extend out your legs, then hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your right or left side as a way to come up to a seated position. Hi. Sit up tall but relaxed and draw your hands to your heart. Like we did near the beginning of class, just focus on breathing up and down your spine, complete cycles. This is part of the practice that you can easily take off of the mat with you. Maybe not easily, it's easy to lose it. It's also easy to come back to. At any point you notice your breath becomes shallow, choppy throughout the day, think about breathing up and down your spine, maybe to a 4 or a 5 count. We'll take an inhale. Exhale. Bow your head. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Namaste. Thank you for choosing to practice with me. I hope you enjoyed this class, the beautiful view, and our star of the show. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you back next week. If you want to come on any retreats with me, you can visit my website down below for more information. You can also donate to my PayPal to help support my channel. I always appreciate that, but it's never required. I hope to see you back soon, and happy practicing.